welcome to Three Sisters Circuit in Wigan for round 4 of the Pass Me Fast Ultimate Karting Championship. We are now firmly at the business end of the season and the battles at the top of the championship table are looking tight, with some clear contenders in each class split by only a handful of points. Last time out in the northeast at Warden Law, the track temperature was as scorching as the action that we saw on it. And with the help of some new camera angles for our TV highlights coverage, we were able to give you a first-person view of exactly what it's like to be in the mix on board one of these rapid pro karts. Well, some fantastic action at Warden Law there, but this weekend we're here at Three Sisters in the northwest, where the track is the centrepiece to a country park that takes its name from the 3 spoil heaps left here after the coal mining colliery that was in operation on the site ceased production in 1958. And while this weekend it's going to be pro racing karts that are going wheel to wheel in search of the checkered flag, you might come here on another weekend and expect to see drift cars or motorbikes, as centre manager Ian Mackinson explained to me earlier on.
Ian Mackinson, Circuit Director at Three Sisters Race Circuit. Really pleased UKC have come back. As you know, multi-purpose venue, really busy with the other activities. Road race bikes, really popular with those guys. Supermoto, again, drift as well, it's going to be popular. And also the corporate karting we do as well. Most events take place in the evenings. We also do the ARCS test here as well, so if you are looking to get into the karting world, it's a great venue to do your test with the ARCS test. And then take it further, you can get into most of the events with the corporate karting, the evenings, different age groups as well. We start from 6 years up right up to the adult karting, so it's ticking over nicely.
Well, we wish Ian and his team here at Three Sisters well as they continue to deliver top-level motorsport around this multi-purpose track. This weekend, though, our UKC drivers will be taking it on in the Valley Circuit layout, which is almost 1,200 metres of fast, technical tarmac that features some iconic corners from the world of karting. So let's go now, take a closer look. Past the start-finish line on the Conrod Straight then, and you're in straight away to a right-hander at the end of the Conrod Straight. Clip the inside of that one, it's a right, left, right section. Then you're going to rise up through the valley, over the valley then, and down the other side. Another right, left, right, and then you're straight away into that Joey Dunlop corner, onto the paddock straight then, past the dummy grid on your left, into paddock bend, back onto the inside then, and now it's another right, left, left section in actual fact through the S's, onto the Rogerson Straight. Keep it flat through there if you can, because you want to launch yourself into the stratosphere that is Lunar Bend. Lunar Bend then, it's a right, right, right and right again. You want to keep this flat and just use as much track as you can, carry as much speed as you then make your way back onto the Conrod Straight and cross the start-finish line. Time to take a look back at the round 3 super finals now and see what that's done to the championship tables overall with the help of my trusty iPad notes. And we're going to start with Honda Cadet, where if you remember lining up on pole, it was Ralphie Branscombe just ahead of LM Motorsports' Ryan White in second and Theo Bradshaw was in third. Now the race got underway and Ryan White quickly took the lead in the opening couple of laps, but he had Bradshaw and Branscombe finding themselves chasing hard from behind. They were pushing him from the off. Then in the closing portion of that race, you may remember that Theo Bradshaw made a fairly robust move on Ryan White and he got himself ahead with 2 minutes to go and was leading for a while. But then the gap closed between all 3 of those drivers once again. And there was a moment where Bradshaw and White were duelling for the win in the closing seconds. And then that was where Ralphie Branscombe seized the moment and he took the lead going into the horseshoe in the final couple of corners. And he snatched the checkered flag in those dying seconds there. So well done to him commiserations to those other two drivers who are battling hard. Now, as we look at the championship table though, Ryan White is still leading. He's got 367 points. Theo Bradshaw is in second on 348 points. And Ralphie Branscombe is third on 340 points. But don't forget, Ralphie Branscombe is on that 900mm chassis, and so he's actually leading in the 900mm chassis class too. The Mini Interclass has been hard fought this season, and two young drivers have become worthy adversaries in the process. Charlie Wolfett of Synergy Racing and Dan Holland Racing's Jacob Ashcroft. Now let's remind ourselves what happened last time out, because Ashcroft didn't have the best route to the final at Wardenlaw. He started back in 6th on the grid for that super final. Now, whereas Wolfett, he did everything right and he started on pole. And once the race was underway, well, that was good news for Charlie, because he got himself some clear road and he ultimately won from the front. So well done to him. Behind him, though, all the battles were going on, weren't they? There was plenty of action with drivers like Noah Barham, Luca Holmes-Balak and Finley Lines. They were all fighting for 4th on the final lap. They were all bunched up, you may remember. Just ahead of them, Daniel Minto had a great race and got himself up to 3rd. But full credit must go to Jacob Ashcroft, because he went from 6th to 2nd, and that's where he stayed come the checkered flag. So the championship now sees Jacob Ashcroft still in the lead, Charlie Wolfett is in 2nd, and Luca Holmes-Balak is in 3rd. In the Micromax Super Final, it was DHR's Emerson McAndrew-Uren who started on pole. Lining up alongside him was Edward Haynes, and just behind them was Oliver Spencer and Cian Bernard, who's recently joined Zipcar, of course, lining up on 4th place on the 2nd row of the grid. Now, the battles played out between all 4 of those drivers at the front for most of the race, but just behind them you had the likes of Jensen Chalk and Colby Patterson also pushing to try and get up to the front. In the closing laps, the lead changed on multiple occasions between Spencer and McAndrew-Uren, with Haynes and Bernard always in touch. Now, Spencer made a little bit of a bump and hustle move on McAndrew-Uren on the final lap, and he went on to take the checkered flag, but when the stewards looked at it afterwards, they deemed it to be worthy of a 5-second penalty, and that pushed him back to 6th, giving McAndrew-Uren the win, with Haynes in 2nd, and then Cian Bernard found himself moving up to 3rd. And that 2nd place finish now sees Edward Haynes lead the championship overall from Spencer and McAndrew-Uren. With no Oliver Spencer racing here at Three Sisters this weekend, the door is open for those other contenders to move up the overall championship tables by the end of Sunday. A full grid of 34 drivers lined up for what promised to be a really exciting Junior Rotax Super Final. And Josh Graham of Argenti Motorsport was making his UKC 2023 debut, and he put the car on pole. Finn Leslie was also on the front row. Just behind them was Lewis Goff and Freddie Ingram on the 2nd row. Now, Argenti Motorsport were well represented that weekend, because there was also O-plate holder Ewan Charman here, but he had some uncharacteristic issues in the heat, so he was actually starting that super final in 14th place. As the lights went green, it was Finn Leslie of Cato Motorsport who took an early lead from Freddie Ingram and Josh Graham, and then the battle was on for the 14 minutes plus 1 lap. Now, Junior Rotax is easily one of the most competitive classes, and we saw this with drivers like Lewis Goff, Jack Hobson, Ollie Stevens and Lizzie Mentier all getting frequent mentions from the race commentator Jake Sanson. In the finish though, it was Josh Graham with the win from Finn Leslie in 2nd, and that man Ewan Charman showed his class by making it all the way up to 3rd from 14th. As we look at the championship table, it's now Jack Hobson leading from Ollie Stevens and Finn Leslie. But honourable mention must go to Kenzo Craigie, who went from the very back of the grid, starting in 34th to finish 11th, making up some 23 places. Good work, Kenzo. And finally then, when it came to Senior Rotax at Wardenlaw, it was all about the dominance of DHR's Kai Hunter, who nearly did a clean sweep of victories through all the heats, the Super Heat and the Super Final, just with a slight blip on the score sheet coming in Heat 2. Now, the Super Final itself was a fairly uneventful affair compared to some that we've seen this season, and the top 3 of Kai Hunter, James Lowther and then Tristan Rennie all took their steps on the podium by quite a comfortable margin. After the race, all 3 were happy with the result and the championship points that had added to their tally. So as we look at that championship table now, we see Kai Hunter extend his lead at the top. Sean Butcher is still in 2nd, although he won't stay there because he's not racing this weekend, and Lorenzo Cordell, where he's in 3rd. And behind them, well, we have Tristan Rennie, Lucas Ellingham, James Lowther and Phil Rawson, all of whom you would expect to be challenging to move up that championship table this weekend. Well, bringing things right back up to date here at Three Sisters, and we're kicking off with Micromax. But the top of the championship table is being led by RCE driver Edward Haynes, who put himself on the podium last time out in second place. The man that went one better than him, though, and took the top step of the podium was DHR driver Emerson McAndrew-Uren. Emerson is currently third place in the championship overall, and I had a chat with him earlier to ask about his expectations for this weekend.
Hi, I'm Emerson McAndrew-Uren. I'm number 133 on our race in Micromax. I won Laura for it was a tough battle. We lost some places, but we gained some places at the same time, and we just had to fight for victory. So far this weekend it's been a tough weekend. Edward Haynes and Kian Bernard have been tough to battle with the last laps in the Heat 1. Heat 1 was an exciting race. A lot of passing and that. So Three Sisters is a new track to me. I'm learning a lot. Dan's helping and coaching me, and we're just trying to improve everywhere we can. Some of the parts of the track are quite easy to catch you out, because in turn 1 and 2, and sometimes if you turn it too early, you're just going to wash out. When it's Sunday night, I'm only going to be happy with at least top 3, if not first. But we're aiming for first.
Well, best of luck to Emerson, although he might not have it all his own way, because there are a few other young drivers pushing him hard. Drivers like Theo Bradshaw, who you may have noticed is contesting both Micromax and Honda Cadet. He's yet to podium in Micromax, and it's fair to say he's having greater success in the Honda. I had a chat with him earlier, though, to see if that might all change this weekend.
My name is Theo Bradshaw, and I'm in Micromax, and my number is 44. In UKC, I have to race Micromax and also Honda Cadet. Some of the difference I notice in the Micromax is that it has more acceleration from corners and more power down the straights. I prefer the Micromax more to the Honda, because the Honda I've done for quite a long time, and Micromax you're just getting used to it, and it's quite a fun class really. In Micromax my biggest competitors are Haynes, McAndrew-Uren and Kian Bernard. I really enjoyed Kian having him in my team, as he always helps me at the tracks driving these corners, and also when he comes to a new track I'll help him with his corners. In Honda Cadet I would like to come in the top 3, and in Micromax I would like to also get a top 5.
Well, there's a lot to look forward to in this one then for Micromax. So let's go and join your race commentator, Jake Sanson.
Let's get ready to rock and roll at Three Sisters in the Micromax Super Final. Ed Haynes and Kian Bernard on the front row from Emerson McAndrew and Theo Bradshaw. And we get ourselves underway here at Three Sisters. Riley Morrow and Sebastian Lush trying to work their way forward as round the outside. Edward Haynes holding on to this, a little bit of contact as up in the air. We had Riley Morrow and Otis Cleary clattering into each other. There's more problems as off goes Austin Oman, our cameraman. He flies off there at the chicane, and as we drop down the hill, there's more great battles still to come here at Three Sisters. Out in front, though, Edward Haynes has got the perfect hole shot and has already started to disappear out in front in the lead. On a very tricky day here at Three Sisters already, but there's some good battles as we have Ed Haynes trying to stretch out and extend his advantage. Emerson McAndrew has got himself in a second position in front of the 44 of Theo Bradshaw. So these three have already started to stretch out a nice little advantage as the drone follows the drivers around the final turn and up the straight. Fantastic to see these scenes. You can see there the 82 of Kian Bernard having lost a little bit of ground initially, trying to fight his way back into. So Haynes, McAndrew, Bradshaw, Morrow, Lush and Kian Bernard, with Radcliffe doing a fair job from 14th on the grid all the way up to P7. He really mixed it up and hustled nicely on the opening lap and has made massive progress. So this is all down to Theo Bradshaw now and what he can do to challenge Emerson McAndrew. Up on the inside, Austin Oman having a look at Soren Gallagher. Can't get through. He's going to have to pick his moment again a little bit later on. Up in front of them, you've got the 21 of Josh Cormack. He's at the back of the train. So in a very positive position, he can make good progress from there. So Haynes out in front. Again, the drone catches up with the leaders as we chase Theo Bradshaw, who is gaining big ground here on Emerson McAndrew. And that just shows you the benefit of the tow. You can see him edging closer, closer, closer to Emerson McAndrew's tail. But up in front, Edward Haynes having a wonderful race of it as he drops down the hill. Now we're back on board with Austin Oman. Again, trying to find the way past Soren Gallagher as they drop down the hill, up into the chicane. through the right-hander and onto the old pit straight. He's got a chance here to move his way forward up the inside. Lovely job on Soren Gallagher. He gets through, but look at the marbles that are coming off the tyres. These cameras really give us an amazing indication as to the increased tyre wear that these drivers are having to deal with. That huge strip of rubber on the top of the carcass of the tyre. So these guys really having to stretch it. Now Kian Bernard has worked his way back into 5th position, right onto the tail of Theo Bradshaw, trying to dive in up the inside into 4th position. Good battle further up as we see Emerson McAndrew having a duel, and all 4 drivers are now going to mix it, battling away. This is going to be very tricky as they drop down through to the pit complex again. And up the inside, this is going to be a move for position. The 22 of Riley Murrow trying to shake off the attentions of Kian Bernard. Sebastian Lush is just watching them all unravel this battle. But this is all allowing Edward Haynes to have that little bit of daylight between them. So Emerson McAndrew still going strong in 2nd. 3rd, Murrow. 4th is Bernard. 5th is Theo Bradshaw now. And in 6th is Sebastian Lush. And Lush is now making his bid on Theo Bradshaw. They're going to work together down the straight. Here comes the opportunity now as up the inside. Riley Murrow is going to go for 2nd, and he's going to take 82. Kian Bernard along for the ride in front of Emerson McAndrew. Nicely handled. They move up to 2nd and 3rd at the expense of McAndrew. But here comes the charge from the 44 of Theo Bradshaw, Now diving through at a very tricky position, and up goes Emerson McAndrew, and unfortunately collects Riley Murrow, I think it was, who tangled in with him. Goodness me, that was properly scary as they came over the top of the brow. So that is McAndrew and Murrow, I think, who both got tangled up in that. A very scary incident as McAndrew actually went up on 2 wheels with the front of the car facing down. So Theo Bradshaw got away with it. So too did the 36 of Sebastian Lush. So they're going to move forward. They are now 3rd and 4th. Throughout all of this, Edward Haynes continues to hold the lead of the race. As they work their way through on the next lap, there's going to be yellow flags at that point, but I think both drivers have ended up off to the far side of the course. There in 2nd place is Kian Bernard. He got away with it. But obviously Emerson McAndrew, actually they're not there, McAndrew and Murrow. They have got going again, would you believe, after all of that? Still at the back of the train, but they have managed to resume, which is astonishing considering that Emerson McAndrew was effectively sat on a bucking bronco as he went over the top of the curbs. So Haynes leads from Bernard, Bradshaw, Lush, Radcliffe, and then Otis Cleary in P6 in front of Davidson and Singh Pahal. Then it is the 21 of Josh Cormack, and rounding out the top 10, it is Austin Oman, our cameraman. But what is Sebastian Lush going to do to get into 3rd position? He's going to have to work hard here with Theo Bradshaw. No overtaking moves for the time being, though. You've got bigger fish to fry. No point dueling amongst yourselves for 3rd position when you can work together, cut through the air more efficiently, and gain ground on Kian Bernard. And if you catch him, you might just have time to close up on the race leader as well. Up the inside of the 25, Dian Singh Pahal, comes our cameraman, Austin Oman. He cuts through at the bottom of the hill. Check out that long line on the inside of the tyre, where essentially the rubber is threading in big shreds around this circuit. It's a very fast circuit indeed, Three Sisters, and it really can be brutal on the tyres. Driving up the inside again, that's Dian Singh Pahal, this time going wheel to wheel with Otis Cleary. And Cleary is the one who gets the benefit. Unfortunately, another place lost there as through comes the 21 of Josh Cormack. So some good battles, but a big shuffle of the deck as Dian Singh Pahal now drops behind Austin Oman, and Davidson drops behind Cleary and Cormack. So Lush is being very smart here. Sebastian Lush in 4th position. He could just duel idly with Theo Bradshaw, but no, he's playing the long game. He's sat behind Bradshaw, and now the 2 drivers are working together to close up on Kian Bernard. They don't want to race for 3rd, they want to race for 2nd, and then they don't want to race for 2nd, they want to race for the win. Side by side with Drew Davidson. Austin Oman is going to have a look. Works his way forward. Can't quite make the overtaking move stick there as they're coming off the far side. Still this battle for 3rd position. That little off, unfortunately, between Emerson McAndrew and Riley Murrow has really broken up the flow of this race. And up the inside of Drew Davidson we go. Austin Oman manages to make his way through, but Drew Davidson's got straight back onto it. Right in the toe once again. See, he carries it. But look at the wobble of the rear bumper. I wonder if there's going to be a slight issue with that. Certainly it's flexing a lot I don't know how much of that is the fact that the rear bumper might be a little bit loose or the fact that it's pretty bumpy at this part of the course. Still got to be very, very careful. Now, the 88, Otis Cleary, swarming around all over the back of Harry Radcliffe, who has made an amazing comeback in this race. 14th on the grid. He has now worked his way up to P5. So that is incredible determination from Radcliffe to get himself back into the hunt of this race. But certainly still, it's a long way to go. As here comes Austin Oman, trying to chase down the 21 of Josh Cormack. Cormack is the man in front. Surely not a big dive into the first corner. Well, Cormack had to go defensive. Meanwhile, up front, that looks like Harry Radcliffe losing that 5th position for the time being to Otis Cleary. Indeed it is. Cleary has got through. So Cleary has managed to work his way forward. And now Radcliffe is really struggling to hold off Cormack, Oman and Davidson. A long line up the inside. That's a late bid from Cormack. No, you don't, says Harry Radcliffe. You're going to need a much smarter overtaking move than that to fool me. So fabulous stuff between these lads as they continue to progress away. But what a lovely battle this is turning into. Up the inside, that's more like it. In the final bend, Radcliffe tries to hold it right round the outside. Not going to happen. Josh Cormack holds it. Now, Austin Oman and Drew Davidson have their opportunity. Tucking back across on Radcliffe. Radcliffe trying to get back in. No, you don't. Josh Cormack has to hold the inside line. There's the chance from Austin Oman. He cuts through. Oh, and he spins! Austin Oman collected by Harry Radcliffe. Just a little bit too close together and the two of them fall off the road. Oh, so easily done. And the Micromax Super Final has another big incident that drops some top contenders out of contention for the time being. So Edward Haynes, through all of this, has been able to hold on to his advantage. 1.4 seconds now ahead of Kian Bernard. But Bradshaw and Lush have not given up. They are still in 3rd and 4th. They are still nose to tail and they are still trying to close up. Now there is Austin Oman recovering pretty quickly. Dives through up on the inside of Soren Gallagher. But that's a lot of time now lost as Austin Oman finds himself in 8th place. Radcliffe is down to, well, he was in 8th place, but Radcliffe is now 10th position compared to Austin Oman in 11th. Soren Gallagher in 12th, and then McAndrew and Morrow, who had their incident earlier on, now 13th and 14th. Way too much time to make up to get themselves back into the top 3. Speaking of the top 3, there is Sebastian Lush trying to find his way there. Theo Bradshaw still holding 3rd position rather firmly. They're trying to gain ground on Kian Bernard, but they are running out of time to do it. It looks like it's actually stalemate between these two. They just can't quite cut through the air fast enough to gain ground on Kian Bernard, even though they are nose to tail, even though they are faster, scientifically working together. It's just not working out. Ed Haynes has had a very quiet race up front, just continuing to control the pace. Kian Bernard, having dropped back initially, now finds himself back in 2nd position. And then Bradshaw and Lush are having a great run. As we look further back at these battles continuing to develop. But a very tricky race all the way through. A lot of great overtaking moves have come to naught. Otis Cleary and Josh Cormack are now in the top 6, running together. 5th and 6th from Drew Davidson and Dean Singh-Pahal. But then Goodson, Radcliffe, Oman, Gallagher, McAndrew and Morrow. So a very tough race of it. Now the 116 of Harry Radcliffe, having already fought his way back into top 5 after that little moment where he had to take avoiding action with Austin Oman. Has dropped down the order, but he can find his way back. He's going to have to work hard of it as Ed Haynes goes into the final minute and change of this race. And Kian Bernard has suddenly started catching him. He's taken a good 0.3 of a second out of his advantage, so Haynes cannot afford to sit on his laurels here up front in the Micromax Super Final at Three Sisters. Round 4 of the Pass Me Fast Ultimate Karting Championship. On board again with Austin Oman. He's got another battle going on. This is Alex Goodson on the inside. Thanks, Alex. You made that one fairly straightforward. Goodson won't be happy about that. He'll want to try again. So he's doing his best to try and close up along the pit straight and into the right-hander. Goodson is making a reasonable retaliation. But as the leaders come through, they're going to cross the line and there will be 2 laps to go for Edward Haynes in front of Kian Bernard. Theo Bradshaw and Sebastian Lush, I think the penny has dropped for both of them. They're 2 seconds back from Bernard. They're not going to make up that sort of time in the final couple of laps on pure pace. And up the inside, Austin Oman's going to make another go at Harry Radcliffe. Side by side. Radcliffe just has to let him go, but Alex Goodson's going to try and take advantage. Oh, Harry Radcliffe isn't going to get caught napping. and time runs down to 0. So we are on the 15th lap of what is going to be 16 laps of racing here at Three Sisters. And out in front, Edward Haynes is being caught now by Cian Bernard, but it might just be a little bit too late for Cian Bernard. He still has to make up a second, but if he's looked after his tyres a little better than Edward Haynes, then anything is still possible in the final lap. Across the line they come. Haynes looks over his shoulder. Cian Bernard is closer to him than he has been since the start. 0.8 of a second is now the gap, so another 0.2 of a second nearly taken out by Cian Bernard. And now Bradshaw and Lush are holding on to 3rd and 4th. Down the hill, Cleary, Cormac, Davidson, Sinkerhal, Oman and Radcliffe in the top 10 from Goodson, McAndrew, Murrow and Gallagher. So incredibly, everybody that started the race is still going to be there at the flag. Only Lewis Capaldi couldn't start the final. But a fabulous race battle, and Ed Haynes, despite all the pressure, despite all of the battles going on further back, he has not crumbled at any point. And as he comes into the final section now, Ed Haynes will be able to hold on to this victory after big pressure in the closing stages from Cian Bernard, but crucially not enough. Ed Haynes will take the victory. Brilliant run from Edward Haynes.
Edward, my friend, well done to you. Another race win. What a weekend it's been. Wins in heats 2, 3, pre-final, and then the final.
Yeah, just been a great weekend, apart from Heat 1, where just got taken out, but apart from that, fantastic.
Cian, that is a great birthday present for you. 2nd place. You look a little bit unhappy with it, though.
Yeah, I really wanted to win. Really wanted the win, but 2nd's good.
It's not bad, mate. You started on the front row of the grid, but then we saw in the order that you dipped down. What happened in that opening couple of laps?
Well, I was on the outside for the first corner, and I just got sandwiched. And yeah, I saw Riley Morrow was airborne, so I had to back out, and then I lost the position, so it was quite annoying. But yeah, it's good.
Theo, well done to you. That is what we want to see, isn't it, in the Micromax? You getting on the podium. You've got that kart linked up now.
Yeah, first podium in Micromax. I'm very impressed with what's happened today and all the heats and this final.
It's been a really good weekend for you, and as people who may or may not realise, you know, you are doing the Honda Cadets and the Micromax. So like you say, first podium in Micromax, and that was quite a race. You were sort of there in 4th and 3rd for most of it, but you held on and you got yourself on the podium.
Yeah, a lot of pressure from behind, but helped me get away from Emerson and the people behind.
Turn our attention now then to senior road tax, where the battle at the top of the championship table is being hard fought between Kai Hunter, Sean Butcher and Lorenzo Cordell. Last time out, Kai showed his dominance by taking an impressive win at a circuit that he knows well. Just behind him though were James Lowther and Tristan Rennie. Now James isn't racing this weekend, but Tristan is, and having been on the podium now at both of the last 2 rounds, I'm sure he's got a taste for it. So I caught up with him earlier on to ask if he thinks he can do it again.
My name's Tristan Rennie, I'm car number 5 and I race in senior tax. We were here last year for the UKC, haven't been here before since then and haven't been back again. But doing quite well. We were 3rd in the first heat and then 11th and 21st in the second heat, so we just got the 3rd heat to go now. With Sean Butcher out of the equation, Kai's in first obviously, we can obtain 2nd, but I don't think we can quite catch up to Kai. Come Sunday night, I'm only going to be happy with 1st obviously at the end of the final, and hopefully be 2nd by the end of the weekend in the championship.
Well, best of luck to Tristan, but don't forget about that man Lorenzo Cordell, sitting 3rd place in the championship overall and a previous UKC vice champion in juniors. Let's nip into the awning now and go and have a chat to him, see what he thinks he might be able to do this weekend.
My name is Lorenzo Cordell, car number 2, racing in senior road tax. Yeah, looking at the championship table, Sean isn't here anymore, so obviously I'll go ahead of him into 2nd, naturally. But it would be nice to catch Kai in the championship and take the win at the end of the year. At Waterloo, I felt my pace was very good, very fast. But in the super heat, I didn't finish because my cane snapped. And that obviously put me back to start the final P13. And for a track that's so hard to overtake at, I think I've done the best I could coming through to 4. Come Sunday night, I'm only going to be happy if I finish P1.
And I'm pleased to say that also racing in seniors is a former UKC champion in junior road tax, Gabe Fairbrother. Since winning in the UKC in 2022, Gabe has gone on to race in the Mini Challenge Race Series that sees him compete across 7 different rounds, taking in some of the UK's most iconic racetracks like Snetterton, Brands Hatch and Silverstone. Earlier on, I jumped into the Ultimate R awning to have a chat to Gabe and ask him how he's going and how he's getting on with it and what's brought him back to karts this weekend here at Three Sisters.
Hi, my name is Gabe Fairbrother. I'm a senior road tax driver, number 11, and I'm with Ultimate R for this one-off race. I've started my first season in car racing in the minis with Accelerate Motorsport. It's going really well at the moment. Last weekend I had my first podium in that and had my first rookie win. And overall it's been a really good experience so far. And I can't wait for the season ahead. So far I've raced at Snetterton, Brands Hatch and Thruxton. All really nice tracks, amazing competition, amazing atmosphere, and it's really great to see how many races there are there. So I started mechanicking at the start of this year, and I got involved with a lot more of the mechanicking and driver coaching, and it just made me miss how much karting was, made me miss it a lot more. And I also missed Ultimate R, all my friends here, and they're basically family now, but it was just really nice to come and see them, race with them one last time, just drive a kart. Missed it so much, had a good season last season, so it's just good to be back in it. Well, like always, I'd like to win it, but there's some really strong competition like Ty Hunter, Lorenzo Cordal. So to beat them, it would be really nice because they've had a lot of experience in a car and a senior road tax, but this is my first time in a senior road tax ever. So it's really good to be out in it and against them.
So let's go and join your race commentator Jake Sanson for Senior Road Tax.
And so to the last final of the weekend here at Three Sisters. It's the Senior Road Tax Super Final. Kai Hunter and Pearson Bullock Carter on the front row. Then Jack Bate and Tristan Rennie, Leo Purchase, Philip Rawson, Lorenzo Cordal, Scott Mackerel, and our cameraman is Lucas Ellingham. Let's race for the last time here this weekend. Up to the first corner. Good start from Kai Hunter. No major issues in the middle of the field by the look of it. Everybody trying to pitch themselves up over the top of the crest without causing any shenanigans. Certainly looks good for the time being. As everybody gets onto the pit straight for the first time, Hunter has got a decent lead. Pearson Bullock Carter trying to keep himself neatly in position. We're on board with Lucas Ellingham. And it's definitely going to be a really exciting run for these drivers as we come into Luna Bend for the first time. But the leaders are already starting to get well clear of the midfield. Kai Hunter settling into the rhythm up front. This is exactly what he wants to move his way forward. Diving up the inside, big slide. Good overtake though, as into position comes Scott Mackerel. Making the bid on the inside there. So that's a good overtaking move on Jack Bate. That puts him into 5th position. Moody is behind him. Then Ellingham, Wood, Lambert, Fairbrother, Purchase, Lorenzo Cordal and Callum Kinder. The contenders continue to push on this second lap of the race. A lot of drivers mixing it up here at Three Sisters. A very solid run so far. It's definitely going to continue to be a tough battle. The man in front of us is Gabe Fairbrother. We ride on board with Lucas Ellingham, trying to get a little bit further up the order. 0.3 of a second is already the gap that Kai Hunter has pulled out on Pearson Bullock Carter. Philip Rawson in 3rd position from Rennie, Mackerel, Moody, Bate, Wood, Fairbrother and Ellingham. Then it is the 80 of Matthew Lambert in front of Lorenzo Cordal. Then we have Purchase next up. Leo Purchase having really struggled off the grid. He started P5 and has dropped now down to 13th position. As we just watch Tristan Rennie trying to get himself onto the podium. A couple of drivers running wide. And that's definitely cost a few positions. Here's the battle for 5th. This is Mackerel, Moody and Jack Bate. So Moody is obviously the man now in front of the queue because Scott Mackerel finds himself in 6th position. So as they come through over the line, it's going very well indeed for Alex Moody, who looks pretty solid in 5th position for the time being. Down the Conrod straight, into the S's, and up over the top of the crest. A great racetrack this. So much brilliant racing over the years in the world of British karting. And certainly in the Pass Me Fast Ultimate Karting Championship, it is no exception. So as we watch this long train of karts continue to scrabble away, here's the opportunity up the inside. And this is for a perfect move for Lorenzo Cordal to get past Lucas Ellingham. But try as he might, Ellingham was not able to hold on to the position there from Lorenzo Cordal. The leading seed in the championship, don't forget. Vice champion last year. Hoping to go one better in 2023, but it's certainly been very tough for him so far. Here comes the move up the inside line. This is going to be the number 23. Making the bid on the inside line, George Hunter gets through then. and makes the overtaking move stick. Still good racing, 10 minutes to go. A lot can happen in those 10 minutes around this particular circuit. Drivers love the challenge of Three Sisters. It has always provided great duelling and some great wheel-to-wheel. We just saw Callum Kinder there, the 53, having a bit of a tough race of it in the midfield. Not quite making the progress he would have liked to, as Gabe Fairbrother is now closing in on Leo Purchase. Pearson Bullock Carter is really giving him as tough a run for his money as he can hope to. As on the inside, there goes Mackerel. He passes Alex Moody to get back into 5th position once again. Still struggling to keep up with Philip Rawson and Tristan Rennie up front. But the top 4 are covered by a second. Still a lot of work to do. Mackerel into 5th place then from Moody, Bate, Caudle, Ellingham, Purchase, Fairbrother and Jack Lilly. Back on board with Lucas Ellingham. The man behind us is giving us a hard time. Gabe Fairbrother really looking for an opportunity, but he just can't quite get close enough at that point of the course. 55 there is in the midst, trying to work a bit of magic. Jack Bate, having started 3rd, now finds himself down in 7th position, trying to shake off Lorenzo Caudle and get back on terms with Alex Moody. So a nice shuffle of the deck a few different times here in this one. Hunter, Bullock Carter, Rawson and Rennie. No change between the 4 of them. Mackerel still going well in 5th place. Now Jack Bate has got into 6th position, as we know. So Jack Bate is now ahead of Alex Moody and Lorenzo Caudle. And those 4 drivers are having just as good a battle as the quartet up front as well. There's a battle for 1st, a battle for 5th, and Gabe Fairbrother might just be trying to join that fight. Certainly the number 99 of Lucas Ellingham struggling to hold the top 10 at the moment. The driver behind him is Leo Purchase. And then you have number 9, Jack Lilly in 12th, in front of Stephen Duncan, who has made massive progress, I have to say. 21st on the grid originally, now 13th, in front of Angus Scrivener, who's made up 4 places. Stephen Napier, who's made up 4 places as well. And there's the move from Rennie. Dives through on the inside of Philip Rawson into 3rd position. Good tactics there from Philip Rawson to let him go, because he can now tuck in behind him again and have another bid for 3rd position. He's lost as minimal amount of time as possible by letting that overtake happen. It's all about strategy and playing the percentages through the course of racing. This is the 5th place squabble. Oh, and that's a retirement. So 1 kart out of the race there as the leaders come up to it. And I'm sorry to say, that looks like it might be Asa Pinder. So, well, we've lost Jay Pearson, who didn't start the race. We lost Thomas Wood as well. But I think that might actually be the Mack Racing kart of Isaac Lord. So it's not going to be the easiest moment at all for the drivers to continue to push forward. Up the inside line, there's the move from Gabe Fairbrother. He dives through on Lorenzo Caudle. So that puts him up into 7th position. There's still some good battles. They come off of Paddock Bend and onto the pit straight. So Gabe Fairbrother's next target is going to be Scott Mackerel in P6. Certainly looking pretty hungry for the manoeuvre, if he can get an opportunity to make it count. It isn't going to be easy to assess how this is going to play out, this one. But as you can see, a couple of karts off to the sidelines now. So Wood is gone, Pinder is gone, Leotakis is gone, Isaac Lord is gone. And still the drivers battle away up the inside line. That is a lovely move from Jack Bay. Oh, problems for Rawson. Rawson's got a bumper trailing on the back of his cart. That is going to be a technical flag. There's no way that Philip Rawson is going to be able to finish this race, or certainly not at the front end of the field anyway. So Philip Rawson, there it is, the flailing bumper. He's going to get the technical flag. And there goes any chance of the podium then for Philip Rawson. Very unfortunate as we watch Leo Purchase and Jack Lilly try and close up on the gaggle of karts in front of him. But certainly it is game over for the victory for a very unlucky and very unfortunate Philip Rawson. So he's going to move over and let everybody go. He goes on the outer perimeter and everybody else is allowed to race on. So very disappointing indeed to see Philip Rawson disappear. So now we've got the 16 of Scott Mackerel. He's got Gabe Fairbrother all over the back of him, and then Lorenzo Caudle in the number 2 kart right on the back of him as well. Still great racing everywhere you look. All of the contenders are going to want to put on a show right to the end here. You never know in senior road tax what can happen. One of the most competitive classes of karting in the world, senior road tax. There's the opportunity for Jack Lilly. He seems to got Leo Purchase on the run. Meanwhile, further up, we've still got Mackerel. Fairbrother, oh, trying his best there, Gabe Fairbrother, to get through on the inside of Scott Mackerel. Can't make it through. How about this man, though? Kai Hunter. He's never been able to pull more than about 7/10 of a second on Pearson Bullock Carter, but he certainly seems to have the measure of this Three Sisters circuit, and his bid to become the UKC champion 2023 in senior road tax definitely looking good. As up the inside, Jack Lilly there was going for Leo Purchase in the right-hander before Rogerson's. As he got through? I think he did. So, never give up, never say die. Those opportunities will keep on coming through. And there is the squabble of carts behind. So good to see how it all continues to shake up. Fairbrother's going to try again. Not a lot of space. Going wheel to wheel with Mackerel. And there's a little bit of jockey for position. Fairbrother's going to hang back. As round the outside comes the Cato Motorsport card of Lorenzo Cordell. And now there's a loose bumper too for Mackerel. Scott Mackerel's got a loose bumper. And he knows it. He can feel the balance of the card isn't right. Fairbrother's gone through, Lily's gone through, and it isn't going to be too long before Leo Purchase gets through. Oh, and they tangle! So Leo Purchase and Scott Mackerel, they tangle, as Mackerel has now got bits of the cart dragging behind him very badly indeed. His hand is in the air, and Scott Mackerel knows that his dreams of silverware have now completely extinguished. So Scott Mackerel will cruise across the line and come back into the pits. I'm afraid his race is over. So Scott Mackerel joins Philip Rawson on the sidelines as we come into the closing stages of this race. 2 retirements then from the front end of the field to join the likes of Lucas Ivaskevicius, Gavin Duarte, Matthew Lambert, Isaac Lord, Thomas Thealticus, Asa Pinder and Thomas Wood. Which means by my math we've only got 21 drivers still running in this race. Hunter, Bullock Carter, Rennie, Bate, Cordell and Fairbrother. So it's up to these 6 drivers to kind of keep it together. Hunter is now finally pulling away from Bullock Carter to the tune of a second over the lap. But he's on the penultimate tour now. So the top 6 have got through in relatively serene order. Pearson Bullock Carter in second place from Tristan Rennie. There is Kai Hunter. Surely he's going to cross the line just after the time has run down to 0 as he goes along the Rogerson Straight and up to Luna Bend. 3, 2, 1, time up. So we are on the penultimate lap now, which is lap 20. As we go into the 21st lap, Kai Hunter looking so smooth and so strong here at Three Sisters in Wigan. It's been a tough weekend for him, as it tends to be for any driver in senior road tax. But certainly in 2023, Kai Hunter is absolutely a man on the mission for the Dan Holland Racing team on the Lando Norris chassis, named after the Grand Prix driver and former karting world champion, of course. But Kai Hunter has just measured his driving beautifully throughout this one. Never pushing harder than he had to, never really having to defend, just keeping it nice and tidy throughout. Kai Hunter into the left for the last time, into Luna, balances the throttle, coaxes the cart on the steering, and it's a dominant run for Kai Hunter at Three Sisters, and he is absolutely ecstatic. The class of the senior road tax field, no question. Pearson Bullock Carter in second place in front of Tristan Rennie. Great podium for those two. Jack Bate in fourth position from Lorenzo Cordell and Gabe Fairbrother. Then Jack Lilly, Stephen Duncan, Leo Purchase and Alex Moody rounding out the top 10.
Always cool, calm and collected, Kai. Didn't go your way in the super heat, but back on track for that super final.
Yeah, just super heat was a bit unexpected at the start. I don't know what really happened there. Well, I do, but not get into that. So managed to get back to fifth in that one, so it was a good points haul. Still started pole for the final and just led it and drove away. So I'm over the moon.
Yeah, it should be really over the moon. Kart was running well once again. Dan Holland Racing doing the business for you.
Yeah, every single round, every single race we come to, it's just unbelievable to drive. It's just perfect. So yeah, when you give us something like that, I just deliver. So that's what I'm here to do.
And as we look at the championship now, your dominance continues, leading the top of the championship table. It was only round one that we didn't see on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, a little crash in the final after winning all the, nearly every heat in the super heat. So yeah, it's the only one I didn't win was the one I crashed out of. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
So 2 rounds to go. Round 5, Clay Pigeon. Round 6, Rowra. You're obviously going to be at both of those and, well, must be brimming with confidence.
Yeah, obviously been around Clay and Rara quite a bit, so hopefully I can get some points, more points on the board, extend the lead, and see where we are in the last round.
Pearson, great to see you here on the podium. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, it was a good race. Well, I stayed with Hunter at the start, just kept chipping away, but unfortunately half a tenth here and gets you quite a bit for over 40 minutes, and he dropped me, but I'm still happy to come home in second.
Yeah, really pleased with that second place, I'm sure. Once the sort of incidents played out, it seemed to be plain sailing for the last few laps for yourself. Tristan Rennie was behind you, obviously, but some way behind you.
Yeah, I think I was quicker than all the people behind, but still Hunter had to catch him up, and I got back to him in the middle, but then obviously at the end he kept consistent, and I still kept consistent, but it was just half tenth here and there.
And I would imagine for you, Tristan, there was times in that race where you didn't think that was quite the result that was going to happen.
Yeah, Rawson was kind of getting away with it from us from a bit, and then we were trying to push him to get up to Kai and Bullet Carter, obviously, but he wasn't fast enough, so we had to overtake him. And we were just kind of standstill for the rest of the race. I couldn't really catch Bullet Carter or Kai at all.
But a kart was running well. You knew you had the speed, and like you say, not quite as much speed as perhaps Pearson Bullet Carter there or Kai Hunter, but everything you did best you could, I suppose.
Yeah, just the best we could. The kart was set up great. We just couldn't catch up.
And I think I'm right in saying last time out, 3rd step of the podium. This time out, 3rd step of the podium again.
Yeah, great to have good championship points and keep consistent and stuff. So.
Well, that's it for our first instalment of action from here at Three Sisters and round 4 of the Pass Me Fast Ultimate Karting Championship. Huge congratulations to our class winners there in Micromax and Senior Road Tax that were Edward Haynes and Kai Hunter. Both of those drivers had dominant weekends through the heats, the Super Heat, and then that all-important Super Final. Join us in the next programme when we'll bring you all of the Super Final action from our 3 remaining classes then that are Honda Cadet, Mini Inter and Junior Road Tax. But for now, from all of us here in Wigan, see ya.